What's up, guys? Welcome back to Streetcar Shenanigans YouTube channel. We are wrapping up the shipbox project. If you have not seen the rest of this project, click the link above my head. You can go see how terrible it was on the teardown. And now it's on the rebirth stage. I can't get around the truck this way. The shop is full, so we're definitely catching up with a lot of projects this week. Whew. All right. Thanks. So just, Dan has been working on for the last couple hours getting the top of this motor back together. Since we dropped it out of the car, we're able to kind of build the entire thing right here, which is probably the biggest benefit of this. And Dan found some awesome wiring. You guys can maybe see that, all that exposed wire to and from the alternator. And the ground piece was all like that. And then it's got some coil wire that's been hacked into with a broken plug. So these are all things that we need to address. If we can find a plug, we will, but the biggest thing that we want to do is at least cover this exposed wire here. So we'll be working on that, and that's what we're fixing up. Otherwise, everything's all together. It had a gutted thermostat in it. I mean, there's no reason why this should have that, so we went down to a 180 thermostat. We put that in. Everything else is set up. We found a huge groove in the balancer slash crank pulley. And that must have wore itself in. And there's a ton of oil over the front of the motor, and this is pretty much right on the seal, so it's not focusing. It wants to focus on the Dart 427 over there, though. Oh, there you go. Now you can see that. That is not supposed to be there. So we ordered a new one of these babies. We got that on the way. Otherwise, she's doing pretty good.
Oh no.
Trans is all rebuilt. You guys saw on the last video the shifter modification I did to make the cheap shifter work a little bit better. So she's ready to go in. Insert engine noises and power shifting noises. She's nice and tight, nice and new looking. Mess on the bench, mess on the car. Mess everywhere. Let me intervene the 2-valve shipbox project with a little bit of my own shipbox project. I don't have a full video on this yet. You guys are going to see a ton of this. This is going to be a complete build series on the channel once we get caught up with this madness that's all around us. But this is my notch. You guys might have saw an intro video from the last shop. And it is going to be a banger turbo car. Hopefully we hurt some feelings with it. So far, in the last couple days, I have installed and squared this chromoly Team ZK member. Made sure I got the rack super centered. So when the rack is centered, the pivot points line up with the control arms perfectly. You can probably see that the offset bushings right there are actually pushing the rack to the right, which is where they wanted to be in order to get the rack like perfect. So I'm really excited about this. I'm about to throw some wheels on it to see how the offset fits. We just did this on Sinclair, the Turbo Fox body, and it stuck out, but it had a Coyote Swap K member, different control arms. So I'm hoping I don't have that same issue here. I went with single adjustable. So they're as short as they can go right now, and they look sweet. So I'm excited. These are my old Strange 10 ways with a 14-inch 150 spring. This is all going to change, but since the car's going back into storage for now, we're not going to super worry about the suspension. Just for fun, we're going to slam it down. This now has Racecraft drop spindles, has Team Z bump steer kit, Strange brakes, Team ZK member. Then this is Motion's lightweight column and steering assembly. Nice and tight. Centered. It's like perfect. Very excited. It looks awesome. So I'm going to throw some wheels on here for fun. I'm going to slam the back down too because it's sitting really tall. And just kind of get an idea what it looks like, and then we're probably going to load it up and take it to storage. And we won't see it again for a little while. We finally got a resolution on the lifter situation with the Lightning. If you see us on Facebook or Instagram, you probably saw that we had a morale lifter issue, that it was like machine crooked and wiped out the camshaft, which put a complete halt to this project. Now we have a new set of lifters. You see them on the 427 over there. And once we have the twin turbo Fairlane, or Galaxy rather, and the ship box wrapped up, which should be by the end of this week, we will be full force on this truck, so we can get this F out of here too. And there's still a lot of custom fabrication that needs to be done to get the blower to fit. So that's gonna be a long build series for the next couple weeks. So make sure you subscribe for that. Otherwise, let's get back to finishing, putting the 2-valve together and getting in the car.
What's up, everybody? Well, make some good headway on the 2-valve. Got everything in, engine squared up, K-member squared and all that. Tighten the motor mounts. Exhaust needs to be tweaked a little bit now that I level the motor, so this one's gotta go up, but that's not a problem. Got the new shocks in. Figured out that bushing's in the back, so that was good. Didn't have to, it's fucking impossible to find factory, not impossible, but it was hard to find factory upper bushings for the shock mounts, but we did. She's all good now. So, like I said before, front suspension's all on. Still gotta set the ride height, but everything looks good now. Now it's clean, it'll be easy to adjust. Scrubbed all the coilovers down in the front and made sure that was all good. And so that should be nice and easy to adjust and set. As before, she was like raked as hell. I wasn't a huge fan of that. So like I said, we got the bottom pretty much all buttoned up. We just gotta get a new clutch cable that should be arriving here hopefully either the end of this week or next week, which not the end of the world, but that should be good because this one doesn't move at all. Ooh, no good. But like I said, engine's all squared up in the engine bay now. It's all level, nice and even. Got rid of this blue hose that looked really crusty. Everything's now black. That one I'm gonna try to see if I can get a black one because everything else is now black. We have a new MAF that go with these injectors that we put in it. That's all back into a new cold air intake that we ordered. BBK, other than the other one that was all messed up. Filter was torched too. Waiting on an upper radiator hose, which I don't know, that was supposed to come today, but it did not. And then all she needs is fluids. So waiting on injectors. I gotta get a belt. That's the other main thing. Those two, and then run the vacuum lines. But cleaned up the spark plug wires. It's about as nice as it can get. I might try and mess with this little corner a little bit better, but it's about as good as it can get for now based on how all this BS firing order goes with these coil packs in the front right here. She's looking a whole lot better than she did before, so I couldn't be happier with that. So we got a couple new parts come in finally for the 2-valve, and one of these are not like the other. As you can see, this one is nice, retracts, pulls nice and even. This one, however, is can't even pull it open. And that's also a lot more open than the other one is, and it's still, I mean, yes, it's pulled a little bit, but she don't retract like the other one does. So, yeah, that's fun. And it's got a little bit of crusty up in there. And this one is all frayed, if you can see that. Ooh, all the little strands coming out of her. No good. This is probably another big issue that Nick was having when he was driving his Mustang. Because this baby is toast. That's for sure. Can't even, geesh. So, out with the old and in with the new. Factory replacement from Maximum Motorsports. Can't go wrong. That's pretty much all we use, either Maximum Motorsports or a factory replacement from Maximum Motorsports. Any other clutch cable is kind of eh.
All right, guys, we are wrapping up the ship box build today. It's going pretty well. Oh, trip on an extension cord. When I say very well, I mean it's going like a typical ship box does. Everything was rusted. Every 1 hour project took 3. And now we're getting wrapped up on the bottom side. So I want to give you guys a quick walk around down here, and then we'll get it down the ground and start it for you guys. So we made a dump axle system basically. We got just like some adapter tubes from LMR, got some Summit mufflers and some turn downs. Now the reason we did this is that he wanted to do straight pipes on it, and he plans on getting the exhaust done with straight pipes. We really wanted to have some kind of muffler on it. We started it with the straight pipes. It sounds terrible in our opinion. Some people like that sound, we just really don't. So we got just kind of a cheap dump setup that we welded together, and it's gonna sound really good, I think. And his main concern is before it was cut, like right here, you know, this is all new stuff. It was cut there and it was filling the car full of gas, you know, exhaust fumes. So now this should help a lot, get the exhaust fumes out of the back of the car. We took the fuel tank out to see that it already has a big fuel pump in it, so that's a plus. Although we had to take it apart and broke all the hardware to get it out, that was a pain in the ass. But now it's back together, that's back together, trans is in, drive shaft's in, wheels are on, everything's done underneath here. So we're going to get it down on the ground and hopefully get it off the lift. Now you guys have seen on the last video, if you have not, click above my head, but this is a trick flow heads, cam, project that we did, oil pump, water pump, you know, just basic gasket refresh, did all that stuff. And then kind of just went through it front to back. It took a lot of time to even do something like this. It fought us every step of the way. All the front suspension had to be rebuilt as far as all the little odds and ends. All the thrust bearings were wiped out. Everything was filthy dirty. So we got all that done and had to put new front accessories on it because the pulley was wore. And I think that's about it. A quick look under the engine bay. Dan did a really good job of cleaning everything up. I went in there and took all the AC stuff off. It was all just hacked out of it. So we removed everything. The last thing we have to do is move these two battery cables to the same terminal over here. We gotta hook the battery back up, which we'll do now. And just kind of fill and test all the fluids. We'll have to get all that wrapped up, but for the most part, it's pretty much all done underneath here also. So we're gonna get the hood on, probably do something with this wire here. Probably see where it goes. We might just eliminate it completely. That would be ideal. That's probably the last thing. I think it's a fan override.
Look what we have here. An empty bay. She drove herself right out of the shop. She sounds pretty good too. Sounds way better than it did, that's for sure. Oh, and the battery's gonna die.
Alright guys, so we drove the 2-valve. It drives good, it sounds good, but the brake lights don't work. And that quickly turned into this mess. That was all under the dash. Again, we love doing these. So now I'm starting to tie up some loose ends and cap where it was all tapped into each other. What a mess. We took all the gauges out because they were all wired terribly and didn't really work well anyway. And now the brake lights don't work, so we found the 2 wires that go to the brake light switch. They were tapped into all that stuff. So we're gonna see if we can get the brake lights to work here shortly. But that's where we're at with this.